Hey, it's Todd Isberner of Share Media and Jimmy LaRose, Polaris Fundraising. Jimmy, I've been thinking recently about other ways to do fundraising for Christian radio stations. I mean, we love to do on-air fundraisers. I mean, that is our specialty, on-air fundraising broadcasts. We make them fun, we make them entertaining, we make them engaging. All kinds of new listeners pour in the door, all kinds of new donors pour in the door. And we're good at what we do. But I'm also very aware of the fact that if we're really going to be sensitive to meeting people on their own ground and providing them engagement opportunities in their ways, we've got to expand the fundraising opportunities. One of the things I like about what you guys do is you're helping radio stations to figure out other ways to open up the door, place down a welcome mat, and say, come on in, and they're non-share-a-thon and non-pledge drive times.
You know, again, I'm fascinated with radio because there is not a whole lot of investment in new donor acquisition.
That's true.
Other nonprofit
we got the airwaves,
right?
Yep.
They're spending tens of thousands of dollars to have access to the audience that already belongs to a radio station.
Right.
So in that, when you do an a-thon and you originate these new gifts, the next question is, well, how do we upgrade? How do we earn the right? How do we walk in greater relationship with a donor? So I would like to make the case that we need to be in permission-based fundraising. So if we had a non-fundraising event where there was this compelling case for support, where it was about impact, it was about transformation, it was about the work of the kingdom, and we invited individuals of net worth that are in our file and that may not be in our file, but we have access to because they're in the community.
Exactly.
And we entertained them at a non-fundraising event. We took them to the mountaintop, and it's all characterized by propriety. It's appropriate. So the nonprofit, so the radio station is comfortable.
Right.
Friends, as we do this, people self-qualify. They have the opportunity, because we have communicated the message, they have an opportunity to respond. And if we do it in these venues where we actually have an opportunity to work one-on-one, instead of just over the broadcast airwaves, all of a sudden there is community, there is intimacy, and we begin to understand what donor interest is. We find out that we actually like each other. We find out how much they love the station. So as we host a non-fundraising event, and by the way, that most of the Christian radio stations, I believe, would know how to execute a non-fundraising event in a way that's compelling.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? I'm not so sure.
But they are programmers, they're in production.
Well, it's true, the level of creativity and,
Right.
and all of the other special things they bring to it, you're right. But not everybody knows exactly how to do it.
Well, there's a number of things that can be done. You know, what does it look like to put together the right host committee?
Yeah.
And by the way, to be on the host committee is to simply lend your name to the invitation. It's not about work. So what if a person got an invitation from a Christian radio station, and this city father, and this city mother, and this philanthropist, and this individual of gravity and influence in the community was on the host committee? All of a sudden, the person's saying, well, you want to know what? I don't know a lot about the station, but I sure know who these people are in the community that I respect. What if there was novelty and there was creativity around the venue? You know, for a Christian radio station over here in the UK recently, we hosted a non-fundraising event in Parliament and found out that our entire cost was going to be about chair rental. And they took care of the rest, so it was affordable. Different ways to, what about a press conference? Do you know how many donors have never been to a press conference? And here we are, media outlets as radio stations.
Yes.
So there's any number of creative ways to send out a personalized invitation for an hour and 15-minute gathering that is donor-centric, because the person looks at that and says, you know, maybe I don't want to miss that. And that's all we're looking for initially.
I love the word community, because that is the big buzzword in today's world is developing community and relationship. And just promise me that in one of these special gatherings, you're not going to pass the hat.
Oh my
You're not
Lord.
going to take an offering, right?
Stop.
Okay, but that's the key. A lot of times when we think about fundraising, we think, well, what am I going to do to raise money at this event or at that thing or whatever? And what you're saying is, how about we just get introduced and get to know each other first? Let's create an event to develop a friendship. The fundraising is going to come later. But what about just coming up with creative ways of opening up the door, again, putting down the welcome mat and saying, hey, come on in, let's get to know each other. And this is where I think we've got lots to learn, and you and I can collaborate on some other kinds of ideas that go outside of the on-air fundraising broadcast and give opportunities to listeners that we've never even dreamed that could be possible, because we're so focused on sounding good on the radio and raising money on the radio.
It's great stuff. Friends, thanks for joining us.